when you do transformational body work, you're doing the work onto the person. Somatic Agency is they're doing the work themselves, and you're collaborating with them to create from the inside out the experience of becoming the being that they wanted to be.
Welcome to the Somatic Pleasure Podcast, where the body is the teacher and sensation is the path. I'm your host, James Humecky. This is a space where breath slows, skin listens, and we enter the raw, unfiltered currency of intimacy, desire, and embodied truth. This space isn't sanitized, it's real. Some of what we touch on may be explicit and not suitable for children. So, if you're ready to feel all of it, come on in. I'm sitting here today with one of my absolute favorite people, Fred Mitouer. Fred and I met back in 2004 when I came to my first massage training. And what I tell people is it couldn't have been a better introduction into this world, because Fred's teaching methodology gives space and freedom for practitioners to bring their life and their life experience into the session in working with people. The other thing, Fred is a deep somatic worker, and his, turning wounds into blessings and being able to integrate these life experiences. His work is deep on so many levels and helps people crack open in ways that they may never have had. In some ways, like Fred himself says, he's the last chance for some people when they're trying to figure out how to navigate this life. I am deeply honored to be sitting here with this man today and to sit down with a mentor and a friend and a co-conspirator in this in this journey of life. And I hope you enjoy him as much as I do. Fred, it is so good to see you today. And again, thank you for sitting down here and inviting us into this.
It's so good to be here.
Yes, it is.
In my home.
Your sanctuary.
This is where I live. This is my man cave. This red roof that you see over there, that's the journey you took to get to here. And this is the rocking chair inside this room.
There's a lot of magic has happened right in this room, and this is before ever getting on the table.
Before you even get on the table,
yeah.
This land that you're sitting in this rocking chair on has two fault lines. There's an aquifer that comes from the Sierras down to the ocean, right through the lee line, through this property. I'm a custodian of a vortex.
And a motherlode of an iron deposit out here that
12,000 feet from my finger is a motherlode of iron that causes navigational ships' compasses to go through a 14-degree differential, so that when they go around the Cape, they actually have to access that information, because this property, this land, is a very potent energetic field.
Well, let's let people know where we are sitting here. We're in Anchor Bay on the north coast of Mendocino, California.
Yeah. We live just about a mile and a half west of the San Andreas Fault on the Mendocino coast of California. It's pretty west.
Pretty west.
Yeah, and it's pretty north, and it's also pretty quantum into the other dimensions as well because of all the elemental alchemy.
Well, and one of the amazing things about this land too, not just this land, but the Mendocino coast, is that it is actually kind of a separate world. You have a mountain range right there, and then you're heading off into the east, into the rest of California. And so there's it's almost like a womb. It feels like people come here to rest and to recover and to heal.
And transform their lives.
So how did you actually get here? Because that's been a while now.
Yeah. Well, as you know, Moses wandered the desert for 40 years. Freddie wandered the forest for 43 years. And I got trees. So we found this place in a local newspaper, the ICO, and 9 acres. And we didn't have any money, but we actually found Providence, and we bought it, and we actually homesteaded it back in 1980. We found it in 79. Yeah, Cheryl and I built our home, and the rest is history. And we took our massage orientation and our yoga inclinations and various proclivities into creating a state-approved massage therapy program, which you were a student of.
Pacific School of Massage and Healing Arts.
Right.
I still have my certificate.
Yeah. So we had 1,100 students, easy, and I've had a good, at least almost 4,000 clients, well over half a century of work.
Well, I know that, when I first came here, this was on the recommendation of another student of yours who happened to be my partner at that time. And a couple of things happened. One is, soon as I started learning about massage and bodywork, I'd always been very body oriented and good with my hands, and that's why, she said, "Hey, you ought to go to this school."
Check it out.
And I, at 40 years old, felt like I had found my calling. And a lot of that, I think, was dependent on how you presented that. You and Cheryl, your wife, that also is just an amazing person.
She is an amazing person.
And, I found that because it was so open and so interesting, and I could see all the little directions that this could take me. And then also, I had these profound experiences, and I was struggling with a lot of my own inner demons. And I found a way to actually access those things. Somebody that had the strength physically and the strength morally and emotionally to actually hold what I felt was too big for the world. So, I'm always going to be grateful for that. And I'd like to talk a little bit about your journey into the work that you're doing now. Then it was called transformational bodywork, and now you're calling it
Somatic Agency.
Somatic Agency. So yeah. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, Somatic Agency is different because when you do transformational bodywork, you're doing the work onto the person. Somatic Agency is they're doing the work themselves, and you're collaborating with them to create from the inside out the experience of becoming the being that they wanted to be in their incarnation. Right. And so I'm helping them, I'm facilitating them, I'm serving their soul to embody their destiny.
Well, that line that you probably still use it, sculpting away the excess to reveal the essence.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I love that piece about pulling them forward, pulling people forward to actually meet their own self. Yeah.
So most people are carrying so much baggage of their DNA and their ancestral lineage. They're loaded up with stuff. So if you think of Michelangelo and the stone that he wanted to carve the Pieta out of, and he was asked why he chose that stone. He said, there was an angel in it and I want to release it, right? And to release it by revealing it by taking away everything that wasn't the angelic, everything that isn't that. So who are we? Are we all of our parents and our great-great-grandparents' karmic baggage? Who are we? What is the divine, unencumbered, undefended, that beautiful place? And of course, people do visit that place in various traditional medicine circles, shamanic work, ayahuasca journeys, full moon circles, DMT, LSD, all the latest ways of psychodynamically moving the human nervous system into that spaciousness that is so wide open and unencumbered by all the karmic detritus.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and it's not just talk therapy, and it's not just isolated into, it feels like to me like it's not just isolated into me doing this thing. There's this, you talked about in a collaborative way, and also including touch, which isn't real common in a lot of these therapies, let's say, where people are trying to shift that inner state.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, quite frankly, and I have a lot of respect for talk therapy. Psychiatry, I mean, I've had some great rewards from psychiatry, and great rewards from meditation practices, and also I've enjoyed the fruits of good holistic health kinds of experimentations. But the bottom line is that the body is holding within its neuromusculature, the karmic agenda that wants to be addressed. And if the body is left out of the equation, the somatic piece is not really addressed, we're left feeling shamanized, therapized, and transcended, and we still carrying this stuff. Like, why? What? How am I still feeling like I've got this stuff in me and on me? And so my work and the work that I have been sharing is about trying to take, like the horse, take the saddle off the horse, get the reins out of the mouth, and feel the creaturehood. What would it be like to be free of all that ensaddlement and enrainment, and conditioning? And so freedom, it's an interesting word. We speak about it a lot, like love.
Right.
Yeah, but what does it really mean?
Yeah, what does it really mean?
Yeah. And so the work of Somatic Agency is to cut through all of that preciousness of shamanism and spirituality and transcendence and spiritual bypass and psychiatric and psychological cool understandings of knowledge, and get to the wisdom channel of the creaturehood that really lives within the embodiment. Kind of the return to the Garden of Eden, where we actually know the divine intelligence through our instinct and intuition.
Well, it reminds me, because one of my favorite teachers that I never met, Moshe Feldenkrais, and his idea of consciousness was kinesthetic awareness. Yeah. And I know that, like, from my experience, because I had done years and years and years of all kinds of work, everything from beating on pillows and primal scream and super spiritual stuff and meditation, and then coming here and being touched in a spot, the body holding onto a certain pattern, and then being able to actually feel in that and press against somebody, and then feel that open up. It was just profound shift in my being and my awareness.
Well, these are we are experiencing the teachings of great teachers that preceded us in life. Ida Rolf, who I adore and love, it shared that it's not how deep you go, it's how you go deep.
That's great.
And when I go into a body and I go slow, and I'm with them, and we're in collaboration with the breath and the space between the inhale and the exhale. And we can actually merge our consciousness together and travel through the sinew of that muscle that doesn't trust the feeling tone of a memory of way back then when a abuse happened. And certainly the abuse was known and buried. And maybe it wasn't even personal, maybe it was transpersonal, and maybe it was in the DNA, and maybe it was 3 generations in your field, and you're experiencing it and you don't know where to put it. And so this ancestral wounding that goes through our feeling tones, that's part of the work that we do. And when we go into this field, it's like going into an underworld of mystery, and we have to be curious and wonder, because we don't know. And there's a lot of shadow realms in it. And in the shadow realms, and if you've got you're geared up to handle it, you begin to learn how to navigate through those realms. And that's basically what the work has taught me, is how to navigate into the darkness to get to an inner light that is profound and sublime.
The way out is in kind of idea. You know, this work really is profound in that way, and it is sometimes kind of a gray area. It can feel like that, you know. It can feel like what we don't, with curiosity we can walk into these places, but you know, in order to do that, you've had to have experienced it yourself. Oh, yeah. And you know, what were your experiences that brought you to feeling like you had the ability to hold and collaborate and work with people?
Well, thank you for asking, and I think that, and I say this, you know, with humor. You know, this work is not for sissies. When you get into the real work of moving through the shadow realms of anger, grief, fear, you need to look at your own material so that you're not in transference to the other person, and so that you're able to really be in service to them releasing it. So you need to be very grounded. So grounded in your own material, knowing your own shadow, and knowing your own capacities. So as you know, dragons have always been my special guides, and I've had help from the dragons. And the thing that has helped me, by surrendering into the I don't know, but I'm held by a field of wisdom and clarity and ground and fierce truth, has given me a permission to move into a place of informed authority. And I don't know where it comes from, but I trust it. It's like I don't know, and I know. And I trust it, and I surrender. It's kind of like, you know, in Dune, riding the worm. You know, you are in the field where you become it. And there is where duality collapses into unity, and something that needs to happen will happen. So what I'm saying is the transformational experience of state change of consciousness through the form of working in the body in the shadow realm has come to me on the massage table through countless experiences in the laboratory. And as you know, I work with satanic ritual abuse. Sonia was my litmus test. And I would not wish anyone to have to go through what I went through, and I would never go through it again. But it changed my life. It changed the way I see the human capacity for evil. And I understand something from working with that level. And as I look at the world today, and I see the atrocities that are happening in Gaza, and just the terror, and the shock of the human depravity, and we could do a lot better than this, right? And I always again appreciate that we need healing. Healing needs to be the new religion. Really. And how are we going to heal wounds that are made from all of this duality? And so, obviously, you and I who do body work with people who are holding their ancestral wounds, that's just the tip of the iceberg. The whole human condition is so PTSD quantumly, and we're carrying our wounds. So, change the channel. And I think this is what the most exciting part of where we're at right now as a species is we have the wisdom channel to actually be with the heart and the soul to learn how to be with it. And we're looking at the reality check of the old school shame of the body, of patriarchy, Christianity in its worst forms of the body being, a third cousin, and all of that stuff.
Just a vehicle. The body just being a vehicle. That's one of the things I hear. This work, obviously I can say from my own experience working with you, but also the work that I've done throughout the world with other people, and that the things that come forward, whether it's on the table or in a some sort of a coaching situation, there's a lot that comes from that. There's a weight, it feels like sometimes, that comes from that. And I'm curious, how do you hold, metabolize, how do you work with that piece just for yourself as a practitioner?
Right. Well, for me, it feels very singular. There's nowhere I can go talk to another human about it. I don't have a talk therapist that I would have some kind of refuge and solace in it. It's not like that. It's elemental. So elemental alchemy. So how do I hold it? That's the question, right?
Yeah.
So as a person that works with hands, I generally off-gas the challenge that the work presents by doing puttering, working with stone, metal, wood. And, I weld, I carve, and I work with artistic frames of reference to build things and create things, and sometimes destroy things in order to create things. So the whole, Kali Shiva energetic is part of my metabolizing. I digest the shadow by doing work on the property, and I happen to have 9 acres and lots of opportunities. To work it out. Yeah. So to be quite blunt, I just basically I get out here, and sometimes it's 2 a.m, and sometimes I cry or yell or scream, and sometimes I laugh, and I write a bad poem and burn it, and listen to Coltrane and Miles Davis, and
have a little whiskey.
In fact, I'm a guy, and I like my little vices, and at 2 a.m, a full moon, I just basically say, "What the fuck?" And so I
shouting at God, sort of.
I'm not a devotee type of person. I'm a creature, and I take it on, and I work with it, and sometimes my wife thinks I'm crazy, and I am, and she's right, and that's why I stay here until I work it out, and then I go back in the house. But it's my day job. It's what I came here to do. I came here to do this work, just like you came here to do this work, and just like all the people that have come to you and to me, they're hungry for intimacy. with the real deal. They want connection to the mystery, and they want the sauce, and they want the skills to be able to do it. And if you're not afraid to die, it's the best thing going, right? But you need to be able to die and be reborn every day to do this work.
Well, the way you speak and the way you work is, to put a word on it, is very mythopoetic. It's very, there's a lot of artistry in it. There's a lot of poetry in it. There's a lot of deep psychology in it. There's, like you said, like this mystery in a way of being able to just be in that space with somebody. But you use the word skills, and like helping people, teaching people, getting them the skills so that they can work with their own shadows. Right. And so what kind of skills would you use mostly?
My wife is a Pilates instructor. I do Pilates twice a week.
No wonder you got that girlish figure still.
Yeah.
Beautiful. That's great.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 75 years old. This unit is I'm a tool. I'm a gymnast. I used to play trombone. I look at bodies as instruments, right? How do I tune you up? Okay. How do I get you limber? What's the hitch in the get along? How can I be of service? So the question being, what do I do to...
Well, what kind of tools do you feel like you teach to people to be able to move through their...
Okay, so I look at the human body as a kind of a field that has sinew. It has bones, muscles, lymph, blood, and all this stuff is organized, and it becomes disorganized as well. Mm-hmm. And the disorganization happens to come in all kinds of entanglements of mixed messages and ambiguities. So, I want to do this, I want to do that. I can't do both at the same time. Okay, fine. And so there's the argument within the nervous system. And so my job is to slow it down. And in this oversaturated screen world that we live in, that we're overstimulated in, the nervous system is entangled. So how I work is to get the person's body to become disentangled. Okay? What that means is moving the musculature so that the lactic acids and the uric acids begin to get out of the field. The lymph system is moving in a circulatory way. The blood is moving. Everything is like moving in a healthy situation. The air, the breath way is moving. The sex organs are working, and the consciousness is being perceptive of the here and now rather than focused on the past or future. So getting a person to be in the present moment with their breath is a major piece right there. I'm not into overly tech, but I appreciate AI on some level. So one of the tools I use is, as you know, far infrared wavelength. It opens up the mitochondria in the cells by having that energetic. So I use that tool. I also used pulse electromagnetic therapy. So I use those tools, and I also use homeopathic medicines, and I use herbal tinctures. And I'm a medicine man. My medicine bag is.
You are.
I've got all kinds of different things, but I don't think that any one particular thing is the only way. So I pick and choose what things work for the particular client I'm working with, or the situation that they're in. Yeah. So I pick and choose. I'm a polymath.
And then you send them home with.
I give them homework.
Right.
Yeah, usually I give them an artistic homework, and I give them some kind of a reference to do some work, and then they come back for another session or series.
Great.
So it's a curriculum. I'm a school teacher.
Right, exactly. Just
I'm a teacher. So there's a curriculum, and then you graduate, and you're done. And then you want to do the advanced class, and then you do that, and you get another certificate.
Right.
And eventually you're free. Do your own thing. Like here you are. How long have you been doing this work?
Now for, well over 20 years now.
Well over 20 years. Well,
Yeah.
I've been doing this work for 54
Yes,
years.
you have.
And most people, they don't make it this far because their arthritis and their backache and whatnot. But the psychic stuff, I can't believe. I love the work. I'll probably die working on someone.
Right.
In my late 90s, I can just imagine me working on someone. Okie dokie.
There you go.
There you go.
Well, and you are very visceral. You're very physical. You work, and like you were talking about working on this land and how you've built and how, the artistry that you've put into not just the work with other people, but what you've done here and built here. And you've built 2 different theaters here. One is where Dragon's Breath happens, and then the other one is the Quantum Theater. And I'd love to hear a little bit about the development of those. I have experienced some great times here. I was on stage as a burlesque dancer.
Yeah, you were a burlesque dancer. Yeah, everyone's got a song to sing and a poem to speak. And September 6th is our next 26th annual talent show. So it's by off-gassing, theater, art, from the actual work that I do. And so I built community through the arts and through doing things in collaborative work. And right now I'm working on this stupid project, which for an honoring of my sister's ashes and my deceased mentors and my parents that have passed. So I'm honoring my ancestors by building this ancestral shrine. Yeah, and it's I've had many tears while working on this, and it's been concrete, and I can't believe here I am late in the evening, the moon's going down, the wind's in, and why am I doing this? And again, another art project, because I'm obsessive, compulsive, doing something to basically be in the creative process of working through the karma of all that I hold.
Right. I was just going to say that's what, you were talking about that earlier too, that the getting in and doing something with your hands and moving your body, which sometimes might bring up, shouts and cries.
So here's the thing. Thank you. This is perfect. You know the old adage, idle hands are the work of the devil? Right?
Sometimes moving hands are too, but yes, I hear what you're saying.
But basically the converse would be busy hands are the work of the angels, because the energy that's coming up from the groin all the way through, instead of going up into the head where you get all this mental stuff going on, it branches onto your arms and you start doing macrame or knitting or some kind of gardening or lovemaking or massage. Your busy hands actually bifurcates some of this energetic so it doesn't go up here. And I think most people are crazy right now because it's all going they're overhead. And if you think of an iceberg, 90% is below the waterline. But most people are living in that top part. And the AI think this is the new religion, right? Wow. It takes so much energy too, by the way.
It does.
To run it. And it's like, but the body, what about all this other, put on your scuba thing, go down to the rest of the iceberg. It's a lot of material down here. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, and the human body was meant to move like almost constantly, from waking to sleep, and that's and in the modern age, obviously we're doing a lot of sitting. I'm doing a lot of sitting right now because of the work that I'm doing, trying to build this thing, and I can feel it. I can feel the craziness happening if I'm not careful.
So I work with people that have had difficulties because of accidents, and they're in wheelchairs. And one of my dear friends, he told me that you don't realize what manual labor does for your soul until you can't do it. Right? So you can have a lot of money and pay people to do things. And that's what I'm concerned about the human condition right now, that if we're going to have robotics and AI do all the things, what are our bodies going to do? They're going to go into what? Love making would be good. That would be great. No, not so much war. Gardening would be good. But most people are going to be, what do I do with myself if machines and AI takes over and does everything for me? Who am I if I can't make it? So the verbs, I do, I go, I be. Okay? Aller.
That's great.
Okay? Faire, être. Okay?
Say those again.
Do, be, go.
And the
Okay, the French would be faire,
okay.
to make happen,
Être, to be.
aller, to go. So the body, where am I going to go? Well, I'd like to go there, but my left says maybe not so much.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to stand my ground until I'm safe, and so I got a pain in the ass. That's how it works, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with, the should. It says SHOULD-ER, the shoulder. I should do this, but maybe not. And so, pain in the neck, pain in the ass. What else we got?
Pain in the heart,
Yep.
bellyache.
Oh my gosh.
Back. For
Yeah. So the
support
body
and-
basically is a compass that goes cattywampus. Once we put stressors in there, and then we don't know where we're going.
Well, and then we forget how to actually access that and actually read it. So one of the things that I feel with you and the work that we do also is helping people become aware of what's happening in this huge
In the moment.
And then be able to actually access it and read it to a certain extent. Be able to listen to what the body is saying, and as far as you could just translate, oh, I've got a shoulder thing, now I need to go get surgery, I need to, whatever.
No.
But if you go into the psycho-emotional part, doesn't mean you don't need a surgery. It just means that there's things that are attached to that. you know?
Actually, sometimes the surgery is unnecessary.
I agree with that.
Because the problem is there's the neurological connection is not complete because there's corrosion because of too much uric acid, and you need to actually work with reflexes. I've had experiences where people actually get mobility again because the neurolymphatic drainage happens, and the neurosynaptic stuff begins to get recharged. So we can heal. Healing does happen. And I've seen it.
I've seen it. I just, one of the reasons I say this is because I would never tell anybody don't go get a surgery or don't go to the doctor.
Yeah.
But I would also encourage them to explore these other realms maybe first or during or after, to really bring everything back together. There's healing and then there's magical thinking, right? I mean,
Well, there's magical thinking that can take you into some strange places that nothing happens. And there's allopathic protocols that can actually take you to some strange places that don't work. So you have to have discernment. One of the things that I've learned over the years is discernment. And I think that I don't have a judgment or a comparison. What I say is, get a second opinion. And people call me all the time, and I don't have a medical degree, but I've read so many MRIs, and I've worked with so many people who have been through psychiatric evaluations, and I've been through so many of these high-level people that have bring me all their paperwork that I actually feel like I've got a Ph.D. in all these different studies, but I've never gone to school because these clients bring to me very precious, special situations. And what works is what I did. And they go, how did you find that? I said, well, we discovered it together. We collaboratively found a way through this. You know, like, this may sound familiar to you. Somebody comes to you and asks you, what do you do with this particular thing? And you say, I don't know. And you're the first person that said, I don't know. Everyone else knows.
Right. What? Okay. Honesty?
Yeah, so I don't know. And they say, I want to work with you because you don't know. Mm-hmm. And I think it sounds sort of simple in a weird way, but actually you're moving into the curiosity. Let's together find out now. Let's collaboratively, how does it work? Does it happen in the morning? Does it work when you turn to the left? Do you have memory? You know, and we begin to actually find and suss it out, source it out, and we can actually transform it by collaboratively be in the inquiry. That's a philosophical crucible with the somatic element, and as you know, I want people to go there in a calm and peaceful, wondering kind of way as I work, without an agenda overriding. And so I will use and ask them to, if they want to provide a microdose of medicines. Sometimes they like mushrooms. Sometimes they like a little marijuana. Sometimes a little scotch. Sometimes some ketamine. Sometimes a microdose of acid. I've done this as well. It doesn't really matter. What matters is that they get out of their controller. And by allowing themselves to be less in control, the great mystery can start to speak in a language that is cellular, and it has vocables, it has meanings, but it is not the conditioned English kind of cerebral architecture and angular the way we have been conditioned to believe.
Literally speaking in tongues. I have seen it.
Yeah, you've seen it. Speaking in tongues.
I have a quick question for you. Would you be against seeing this podcast reach more people who could really benefit from it? If you're still listening, the chances are you've already received some valuable takeaways. Subscribing literally takes like 5 seconds, but it seriously helps us keep these conversations going. It's how we keep bringing in the guests whose stories provide the depth that you've come here for. So yes, I'm asking you to join the team. Hit subscribe, like, and share with somebody you know. And let's grow this thing together. So one of the questions that comes to mind when we're sitting here talking, and it's a question that I wrestle with myself, is why are we doing what we're doing? Why are you doing what you're doing? And where is that going? Where would you like to see it go? I'll let you just, if that's clear enough, I'll let you just talk about that.
Yeah. I think we're at a kairos moment in the human evolutionary cycle. Who are we as a species? Do we have to have war? Do we have to basically show our strength through, dominating other people? How can we be in human dance with others in a way that has reciprocity, respect, and love? And it seems so simple of a question, right? Okay. As a 60s person, in the Vietnam War, the whole slogan was make love, not war. Okay. What does that mean?
Right.
What does making love really mean? Making love possible. How do you make love possible? Well, there's no quicker, more efficient way than touch. Mm-hmm. And if you calm down and you have a sense of ground, and you have integrity, and you're not trying to make something happen, get something from it, and just be with the intimacy of connection, then something can happen. Duh. I think the name of the book should be Duh. It's simple. And if you don't mind me speaking redneck, just because simple don't mean it's easy.
Right.
It's hard work to get simple. And I think the complexity of this modern time, and I think about how Atlantis failed with all of its woo-woo and technology, we're heading that direction. Mm-hmm. And, you know, we're too smart by half, and we're killing each other. And we're in secondary gratifications of, you know, better bombs and faster cars and precious diamonds and all the accoutrements of secondary riches. But we're not wealthy on an energetic level because our bodies don't feel relaxed. Mm-hmm. They're not alert in a calm, loving way. And so what happened? So, you know, Homo sapiens pacificus, that's the peaceful human.
Okay.
That's what, when I wake up in the morning and I think about what I want to do with my moment, my life, when I work on a body, I want to create a more peaceful human. And what does that mean, to come to peace? Now, Buddha taught compassion. Jesus taught forgiveness. These are really noble things, right? Mm-hmm. But what does it actually mean energetically to live a life where you are giving forth because you forgive and having compassion for other people? And if you didn't get bonded by mommy in the beginning with eye contact and a nipple on her breast, and you wanted that yum, but you couldn't get it, well, you're going to get secondary gratifications by getting that Ferrari, you know, and another, you know, substance, whatever. And I think most people are trying to get to the original primary, but they're actually doing secondary gratifications instead. And so the human condition is basically material rather than spiritual. And even the spiritual has become materialistic because the body has been left out of the equation. And so if we were to look at what's the bottom line here, is people need to slow down, catch their breath, and be in the moment and have some kind of ritual. And a massage therapy table could be an altar. Mm-hmm. Where it's not just, you know, stress relief. It's actually connection, where you feel some kind of sense of I'm not alone, and I have a feeling that there's a larger field of loving kindness that's holding me through touch. And so I think the new religion is healing, and healing is wholeness, bringing all the parts together. All the pieces of the puzzle come together and completes the package. Okay? So I get up in the morning and I think about how can I make a better world? And I'm so grateful that I found this work at a young enough age that I could grow my entire identity and my life with this as the noble thread that holds all the beads. Mm-hmm.
So actually, I want to come back to that noble thread. I think that's an important thing. But I also want to ask you, what is kairos? I mean, for people that don't understand that
kairos
term, what does that mean?
Kairos is a Greek word that means turning point. Okay? So if you were dancing, do you mind if I get up and show you? So if I was to actually, I'm moving, and I pivot. That's a kairos moment. Uh-huh. It's a turning point.
I have never seen it expressed that way. That is great.
So I'm boom, 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 and I turn.
Yeah.
Okay. So a turning point. So this is a Kairos moment we're at right now. And you could also look at a Kairos moment as a state change. So I work with metal and welding, for example. And you take a oxyacetylene torch to steel, and it becomes red hot. Mm-hmm. And then it becomes white hot. And then it becomes golden hot. And it begins to bubble. And it goes from a solid to a liquid. And in its molten stage, you can start to shape it because it's now liquefied metal in liquefaction because it's vibrating at a higher frequency through the heat, right? So it's going from a solid to a liquid, right? Mm-hmm. So we, on the human condition right now, are at a place where we're going through a state change. It's getting hotter and hotter in order to basically change the state of consciousness so we can actually transform the form into something that is more malleable, okay? Now, if we overheat it, it becomes a gas, vapor. So you can lose the metal. Or if you use water as another example of an element of looking at ice, a solid, melting becomes liquid and flowing, and then heated up again, it becomes a cloud and vapor, steam. So you get state changes. I think humanity is going through a state change right now. And that's kind of what's happening. I think it's part of the Kali Yuga energetic that we're in from the Hindu overview of that many thousands of years of human karma cycling through. And we're coming out from the other side now. And it's an exciting time. That's why we incarnated. We wanted to be here for this moment. It's like a Lemurian wet dream. Right. We're remembering that we are divine, you know. And some of us were here. We came in as light workers. We incarnated and we were waiting for this moment. This golden moment.
May you be born in interesting times.
Yeah. So I think back to the elemental piece of, because I work with flesh, but I also work with stone, metal, and wood. But if you think of steel and stone, and you think of relationships of where the steel goes against the stone, and there's sparks, lots of them. And then finally, at some point, it stops. And the stone is grateful to be of service. And the steel is grateful that it became a sword. And so there's a process of honing by pushing against that which is strong enough to push against you in a way. And that divine intelligence is that stone that our human condition is working against right now. And there are sparks that are flying right now. And if we can hone it and tap into our humanity, we might find that there's a peaceful human that does not want to go to war anymore.
Right. Yeah, you have to know yourself. I mean, you know, I'm seeing this, for me anyway, a thread through this. You know, we were talking on a sort of existential level, and then we're talking about on a societal human interaction level, and then we're talking about, you know, the work, you know, in some ways, what you're the stone, and they can, you know, people can rub up against that, and bringing that back around to the, you know, the kairos, or that pivot point. And as you demonstrated there, standing up, moving in the work that you do, and I feel like the work that I do too, is helping people come to that actual visceral moment of feeling that in their body, which sometimes is movement. Like, stand up, move your body, feel that balance, feel that change in your body, and through that process, building a new awareness and a new consciousness. So, you know, we're talking about this thing on this larger humanity shift level, but working at it from this individual person to person level. And that, and just want to bring one more thing in there is the in that state change, it seems like we're still going to be bringing all of what it means to be human with us, and the primal drives and the ways that we connect and the way we sense the world, and that's all coming with us. And where the world is right now and its imbalance, and you did speak to this as well, I'm going to get the Ferrari, I'm going to get we're not going to just have the natural process that creates a 0.5% alcohol that's good for our systems. No, we're going to take that, we're going to make it 140 proof, you know what I mean? Because that's what we do. And I just love that piece of just bringing it back to this quiet and understanding. It feels like to me that we actually have that wisdom in our body.
Yeah.
And again, the sculpting away the excess piece to reveal that essence of each person, each of us, and that's, I don't know if that's your thread through, that's my thread through, you know what I mean? That's
It's the only game in town.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we also, as you eloquently said, we want to be in our humanness, and we want to embrace the chakras from the bottom to the top, and then some. The whole thing.
Right.
And there's a place for everything, and everything's in its place. And all the neighborhoods are happy, and they know each other.
Yeah, we're an ecosystem. Everything is working together, and from that it extends into this relationship here, and then the relationship with the world, and how we feel touching the ground, and the visceralness of it.
And there's always going to be a bit of conflict that goes with life. The question is, does it have to be bloody?
Right? Can we choose where we press up against that stone, create that dynamic tension for a reason?
So art can be sexy.
Oh boy, it is sexy as hell.
And I think, a good relationship can take a disagreement and make it into a great lovemaking.
Absolutely.
So we want this friction. We want the honing. And if we can play by the rules of, we're not going to kill each other, but we're going to get close to killing the illusion.
Right.
And get into the reality of, all I want you to do is just see the real me. And carve away all that which is not real. My shoulds, my parenting, my good girl, my bad boy,
all the labels.
Yeah, all that stuff. And finally, we get to be essentially ourselves.
Yeah.
How good is that?
Like you said, there's no other game in town, right?
It's the only game in town.
Well, and I'm just going to speak on a real personal level and about our relationship.
Yes.
Your ability to hold that space allowed places in me to wake up and open up, and allowed me to step off into my own path. And I had to go through a differentiation piece. We've talked about this on a personal level, and kind of like with a parent, there's that place where I had to pull away. I have to pull away in order to find who I am. And there was, anger and envy involved in that. There was judgment involved in that. There was love, like deep love involved in that. And I'm so glad that you're here still, and that I'm still here, and that path can come back around to where we are right now.
Thank you. I'm in gratitude and awe and appreciation, because I think that men need to individuate from the father, and the transference that happens within the masculine mirroring and the generational kind of stuff is a dance. And it's not done so well across the board culturally, pan-dimensionally. And so we have in this moment an opportunity to bow to the fact that we've each done good work to get to this place of honoring that honing, that individuation, and that bow.
I love you.
I love you too.
Fred, after that, we had to take a little break, and here we are back together.
Here we are again.
Oh, my heart is just so full of love. Yeah, thank you so much. And, we are needing to wind this down. We've been at it for a little bit here, and I think there's, many years of more conversation that'll be happening. But what I'd like to ask you, just kind of in conclusion, what is turning you on right now? Where are you going with your work, with your life? What's the juice right now for you?
The juice is my family, my marriage, my property, my art, my film.
Can't wait to see that.
Yeah, I'm always into the creative process. I feel like I've got a good 20, 30 years on the planet, and I want to wake up each morning and do one little step to make each of the projects happen in as graceful a way as possible, and have a lot of fun doing it.
And how do you see your work being extended into the world, or continued maybe even after you go?
I think what I'd like to see is the many people I'll never meet will take up practices in doing somatic agency work in whatever form, using the materials that I will have created and have created, and have practices in every area of the world that needs healing. So, in Europe, especially Ukraine and Russia, and in the Middle East, especially Gaza and Israel, and especially in Thailand and Cambodia right now, everywhere where there is a war zone, a healing zone would be my wish, is that people would come in and do the great PTSD work of helping people come back into a feeling of wholeness, through forgiveness, through compassion, through loving touch, through intimacy, and through the capacity to work with their shadow and find the light in the heart of the sincere desire to just show up and be with what shows up, no matter what, just to show up. And that takes courage.
It takes courage, yeah.
To say, yes, I will meet you.
Yeah. And you're still teaching.
I'm still teaching.
Are you offering
teaching
classes here on the land and different things like that?
I do classes twice a year, and I still do bodywork with curated clients, and I also do 911 emergencies that arise, as you well know. They come up, and I try and make enough time for me to swim at least every other day, and do my Pilates, and just channel the goodness that happens on this Mendocino coast.
And can people find out about those classes through your website?
They can find out, or they can call me.
Somatic Agency.
SomaticAgency.net.
.net, yes. Perfect.
Yeah.
And you mentioned a film. We didn't really talk about that, and we don't have to go into a big thing about that, but if you would explain it a little bit and where it's at and where you're going with it.
L. Scott Jones, my friend and filmmaker, and I put together a 20-minute film. It's like a mini documentary, but it's not the full piece that I'd like to do. And so my mission is to garner some support within the industry of the filmmaking world, and do collaborative work to get this message out to the bigger world. And so I'm looking for collaborators and co-producers
Great.
to make that manifest.
Beautiful. And what's the film called?
Grounding Light.
And people can see that on your website,
They can
right?
see it on the website,
That's
yes.
right. Yeah, I remember seeing
Yeah,
that.
it's a 20-minute film on our website. Yeah. Thank you. An honor and a privilege. Very special moment for us and the world.
Yeah, I'm glad that we caught it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Fred. And just, yeah, it's really an honor to sit here with you and go through this conversation. And it's just a conversation that's been going on for 20 plus years. And this is the new iteration of it. And I look forward to more.
And it will continue on.
Yeah.
Blessings.